Okay, did it start? Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Kareem Blackbrand, and today I'll be presenting my study on the impact of AI-generated notes on reading comprehension among college students. So I chose this topic because AI is becoming a major part of how students study, and I wanted to see whether it actually helps students understand information or simply just make the process faster. So, um, Many students now use AI to create notes, summaries, and study guides. And while this can be convenient, traditional note taking requires students to actively read, organize information, and put ideas into their own words. So, because of that, I became interested in whether students understood material better when they create their own notes or when they use generated notes with AI. So my research question was, does AI generated notes affect reading comprehension when compared to self-written notes? And my hypothesis was that students who created their own notes would score higher because writing notes requires more active involvement with the material. So for my literature review, previous research supports the idea that note taking can improve comprehension and memory, and researchers have also found that self written notes may encourage deeper thinking because students must decide what information is important. AI tools can save time and make studying more convenient, but there's still limited research directly comparing AI generated notes with self written notes. So that gap is what my study is going to be focused on. So my method for my study, I use a quantitative experimental design with two groups. The independent variable was the type of note-taking method used, either AI assisted notes or self-written notes. The dependent variable was each student's score on the reading comprehension assessment. For my participants, my study included 100 undergraduate students from Alabama A&M University. The participants were randomly assigned to two equal groups with 50 students in the AI assisted group and 50 students in the self-written note-taking group. So first, participants completed a consent form and a short background survey. Then both groups read the same passage and had the same amount of time to take notes. The only difference was how the notes were created. And afterwards, everyone completed the same reading comprehension assessment without using the passage or their notes. So they also completed a brief engagement survey at the end as well. And here we have what the results consisted of. When I compared the results, the self-written note-taking group had an average score of 61.74, while the AI assistant group had an average score of 45.80. And the difference between the groups was statistically significant, which means it was unlikely that the difference happened by chance. So these results supported my hypothesis, and the students who created their own notes performed better on the comprehension assessment. So a possible reason is that writing notes requires them to actively organize and summarize and process the information. The students using AI may not have interacted with material as deeply because some of that thinking had already been done for them. So some of the limitations and future research. So although the results were significant, there were still some limitations. The study only included students from one university, and participants had different levels of experience using AI. The study also measured comprehension immediately after reading, so it did not examine long-term memory. Future research could include a larger and more diverse group of students and explore ways that AI can support learning without replacing active thinking. So overall, the students who created their own notes showed stronger reading comprehension. This does not mean that AI is bad or should not be used in education. Instead, the results suggest that AI may be most helpful when it supports students' learning rather than doing all of their thinking for them. So that concludes everything. Thank you so much for listening. Here are my references, and thank you.